What's up, gang? I want to show you something that just got dropped off. Right here. FedEx just dropped off another Newair chest freezer. So over here on this side, guys, I've had this Newair chest freezer here in the garage for about 2 years now, running non-stop, has done absolutely great. So I wanted to get another one to either put in here or, you know, even my garage. These things, it was 399 bucks. That is cheaper than a 32 liter 12 volt cooler. Now granted, they're completely different applications for when you would use them, but for less than 400 bucks, I'm hoping I'm gonna get a really nice deep freezer that's gonna run 24 hours a day here in Texas in the garage that gets over 100 degrees. I'm sweating right now telling you this. The price of them's great. I've been so happy with my other Newair chest freezer. I decided to go with a little bit smaller one because I am running out of room, but I'll kind of want to go over the setup with you on this, where I'm going to put it, and let's go over some power draw that these things use, and just trying to figure out what it uses, you know, maybe per hour when that compressor is on, down to around 0 degrees. But I want to get this thing set up and turned on, see how it works. The good thing is it's not that heavy at all. I can lift it up very easily. So, go. It's not bad. 3/8 inch plywood to protect it. I'll use that for something else. And I went with the green version because I thought it looked cool. But I got to figure out the best way to get this thing out. I don't want to have to cut this box. I love that color. I don't know why. Never in a million years did I think I would ever hear the term, "that is a good looking chest freezer," come out of my mouth. Yet, here we are. So again, 5 cubic foot, Newair deep freeze chest freezer, model NFT050GN00, 120 volts, 60 hertz. Rated current is 1.2 amps. The refrigerant is R600A. I don't see any kind of blemishes, dents, dings, FedEx mishandling. You got the energy guide there saying it's going to cost about 30 bucks a year to keep this thing running. 250 kilowatts estimated yearly use, but of course that's going to vary. You got a drain plug down here if you do ever need to thaw this thing out and clean it. Let's get this thing taken off. And inside, still got some tape to remove, but you will have a light. You got a little basket and a ton of room all right there. So I'm gonna let this thing sit for probably 12 hours to make sure that this wasn't on its side in the FedEx truck. Got just the 3-prong outlet plug. And yeah, let's let this compressor kind of cool down, average itself out, and then we'll plug it in, and we'll do about a 12-hour runtime test on it to see how much power it's going to use and to see how quick it cools down. All right, well, I've had this cooler sitting for about 12 hours, and again, gang, I don't know, this color might look weird on camera, but it's a really, really kind of cool color in person. I don't know, it's like an army green, puke green, I guess. I don't know, really nostalgic looking green. I don't know how else to describe it, but again, I couldn't find any dents, no dings. The packaging was really, really nice. I have not started this thing up, but I've got my watt meter here. I have it completely cleared out because I do want to see what the high wattage that this thing pulls on startup. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing plugged in and let it run for an hour. I want to see if it'll get down to 0 degrees. This cooler actually gets down to -14 for that true deep freeze. But just for the sake of running this for just 1 hour, I'm going to stick this thermometer in here. And we're going to get this thing going. See how it works. So let's plug this in. Got the digital display. We'll put it to -1. 88.6 watts. And it's actually going down to 79 watts. So anyway, and also this fast freeze, it does have a setting for fast freeze, and that is if, say, you go hunting, you got some fish, you got some raw meat, and you want to stick it in here, but you want it to cool down extremely fast. You can hit this fast freeze button, and it's supposed to put a rush of cold air in there really, really fast, so you don't get all those big ice crystals on the food that is not frozen already when you're putting it in here. So I'm not going to use it for this sake of this test right here, but that is what that little button right there is for, fast freeze. It does come on wheels, so it's really easy to move around, but I don't know why I'm geeking out over a stupid chest freezer, but I am. And we are down to 76, and I actually forgot to start my stopwatch. So I'm going to come back probably 30, 45 minutes, an hour, who knows yet, to see where that cooler sits in terms of temperature. Right now it's at 90 degrees. So we'll see what it looks like here, probably about an hour. Okay, gang, well, we are at, just right now, 31 minutes. The digital display is showing actually 3 degrees. It just changed on me. It was 4. Now it's 3 degrees. We are pulling 65.5 watts, 65 watts right now. This is showing the highest wattage that we pulled at 715. I don't think that's accurate. I never saw it get anywhere near that. I thought this was cleared out. I'm not sure if this actually cleared out. I never saw it get above 90 watts. But let's just take a peek inside here to see what this is showing. Oh, it's cold in here, guys. I can tell you. It's going to be hard for you guys to see, but that's showing about 17 degrees. So obviously, oh, and there's the light too. So obviously we're not down to the 3 degrees, but like I said, I'm going to come back in an hour with my laser thermometer and shoot it with this after 1 hour to see what we got. So overall, it's a lot colder than I thought it would be after 30 minutes. It is 90 degrees in this garage. Let's see. Probably not. 89 degrees. We'll call it 90. So it's warm in here. But come back here in 30 minutes and use that thermometer and see what this thing sits at. All right, well, good morning, guys. It is actually 12 hours and 12 minutes that I've been running this cooler. So let's turn this camera around, figure out how many watts this little chest freezer used overnight, and then we can kind of extrapolate that data into a 24-hour. Of course, there's going to be a lot of variables. Again, this cooler is completely empty. Freezer is completely empty. I didn't really open it up a whole lot, but we can kind of get an idea of what we're working with in terms of power consumption and what you might need to use to run it if you're trying to do something like this off grid. I have used 378 watt hours overnight running this freezer. 120 volts. Right now it's pulling no amperage whatsoever, really. Yeah, not even a watt. And here, so the high wattage actually grew a little bit. So the highest that compressor ever reached was 830 watts. So that's a real important number, guys. If you're going to be running this freezer, if you want to, keep it as an emergency backup, system or whatever, if you're going to be using like a battery station, like a Blue Eddy, or even this Goal Zero here, you need something that will handle, at least in my opinion, 1,000 watts. Because that's a pretty big surge. In any power station, like a 500 watt power station, it's going to trip it and it's going to cut this thing down, because that compressor at one point in time for a split millisecond needed 830 watts. But what's interesting, what I do think is kind of cool, is the fact that it only used 378 watt hours. So like this Goal Zero is a 1,000 watt hour power station. Technically, that power station would run that cooler 3, 4 for probably a day and a half, and that's not a very big power station. This Blue Eddy, which has got 1,152 watt hours, again would probably run this for maybe 2 days. So it doesn't take a whole lot of juice to keep this thing running, but this thing is showing it's still at -1. I know the frame rate's kind of making that look like it's dancing, but it's really not. Well, let's check the temp on this thing. So I'm getting about 8.6 degrees. Let's see what this is showing. Yeah, I don't know what's off. Well, I kind of trust this more. This is showing 0 degrees. So that's a good test for my laser thermometer, I guess, that it's about 10 degrees off. Well, about 8 degrees. So that's gonna wrap it up for this chest freezer. I don't know why I find this little thing so neat, I guess because they are very useful if you have the room to keep them. This is a 5 cubic foot. My other Newair is, I think, a 7 cubic foot freezer that I've had in that garage for 2 years, and it has ran nonstop since I plugged it in, and it's still doing just fine. So I can attest personally that these Newairs work very well. The only downside that I can see with these particular chest freezers is you only get a 1-year warranty. It's not very long, to be honest, but again, in my personal experience, I'm sure there's some bad apples out there. The chest freezer I've had in that garage has been running, again, nonstop for 2 years and doing just fine in a 105, 110 degree summer garage here in Texas. So I'm hoping this is going to have the same luck as the other freezer, but they do require quite a bit of surge if you're going to be running these off of like a backup UPS system, or if you're going to hook it up to a LiPo 4 battery and an inverter. Make sure that your inverter is strong enough to handle that brief surge, and at least on this one, again, up to 830 watts. So anyway, gang, I'll leave a link for this Newair down in the description below, and I'll keep you updated on this throughout the year, maybe, once I find a spot to put it, and give you an update on how well it's lasting. But I don't foresee any issues, so knock on wood, and we'll see you soon. Take care.